This is a very brief encounter, so it's difficult to say all that needs to be said in such a brief space, so I will not even attempt it. I have two lectures with you. I will orient these two lectures around four concepts: religion, spirituality, ideology, and dharma. Now, this is a sociology of religion course, so it's best to begin with the term religion. Religion, in the accepted wisdom of the West, characterizes all cultures. It is part and parcel of any cultural configuration and plays a very important role. So, what is religion? Religion is the name that Latin Christianity gave itself. It called itself religion, and it assumed that other people also had similar things. Why? Because of the attempt to convert. When the Christian missionaries went out to the rest of the world, that which they found provided the greatest obstacle to the acceptance of their ideas, they called religion. So, religion has this basis in fact. It is not something just airy fairy, it is something substantial and real. So, religion is the name they gave themselves and the name they gave to the resistance they encountered in others. But I plead before you that religion is not universal. There are many other types of the existence of the human spirit. And the human spirit is an infinite thing. It has many dimensions. And the human sciences study the human spirit. So they called themselves religious. Two distinctions are essential to the understanding of religion. One is the distinction between religion and superstition. Christians believe, Muslims also believe, that they are the true religion and that other religions are false. Judaism also believes this, that they are the true religion and other religions are false. And they think all peoples have religions, just like Latin Christianity. So, that which is not their own, they call superstition. Most important in this distinction is the attempt to drive out magic. It is not as if there are not magical elements in Christianity. Many magical elements, miracles, salvation. Religion in its essence is something magical, but they are opposed to all other types of magic. So, the distinction between religion and superstition, central to the understanding of religion, what religion distinguishes itself from and strives to take a clear path through. There is a second distinction which has proved most faithful for the West, and because it has proved faithful for the West, it has proved faithful for us also. And that is the distinction between the religious and the secular. That which concerns religion is not something that encompasses everything, but leaves certain parts out, which are not the concern of religion. which you can do as you please. These two distinctions are central to the understanding of religion. That religion which Latin Christianity thinks itself to be. Now I will ask you a question. What is religion? Forget what I have said. Forget its Latin roots. You have been studying the sociology of religion. Some of you may be religious. Some of you may be not religious but still have an idea of religion. What does religion treat of?
Gives a sense of community belonging, where we all are connected through a common faith.
It gives, but what is it? What does it speak about?
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. You have anticipated what I was going to say later, but it is what the Hindus think they practice. But what does it treat of? Does it treat about eating?
Treat in a sense.
Does it speak about eating?
In the context of prohibition, yes. What you can eat and what you cannot.
Does it speak about working?
Yes.
Does it speak about sleeping? Does it speak about dreaming? Is there anything that it does not speak about? It is a totalizing concept. Durkheim says that religion is the realm of the sacred, and it is distinguished by beliefs and rituals. This is an atheistic understanding of religion. This is a sympathetic but opposed view of religion, which wishes to narrow down religion to a few simple aspects. And his book is called Elementary Aspects of the Religious Life. So he says this. But there is nothing at all that religion does not treat of. It treats of everything. It is a totalizing concept. The Christian distinction between the religious and the secular arose partly through the attempt to separate the church from the laity. Christianity has a church. Islam has a church. You can extendedly say the Sikhs also have a church. But all religions do not have churches, even though they might have monastic life. Monastic life does not constitute a church. A church consists of a community, the community of believers. And in the Latin Christian conception, it is the community of believers that is sovereign. Not so much in Latin Christianity, because in Latin Christianity, the Pope, when he speaks ex cathedra, that means from his position as the representative of God, his word is to be taken as complete truth. This was part of what the Protestants protested against. But the distinction between the religious and the secular is the attempt to seal off the church from the community of individuals. To seal off this special community, this special type of community set up between individuals by the church from that which is current in ordinary everyday life, the communities people form and dissolve and re-resolve and again make. So the distinction between the secular and the religious, and the distinction between the superstition and religion. Now, what should we include in the religious? In this, it was, if we ignore the 1,000-year debate between Buddhism and Hinduism in India, no member of any religion except the Christian has tried to study other religions. So the Christians, when they attempted to convert, did not merely wish to convert, but they also wished to study. They also wished to understand themselves when they were understanding others. So they studied religion. And the sociology of religion is the appropriation of this Christian tradition to secular and atheistic perspectives. They no longer hold this view anymore, but earlier the Christians used to think of religion as an evolutionary entity, starting with spiritualism, animism, all that Durkheim disputes. An evolution culminating in monotheistic, formless religion, the apex, which was Christianity. The atheists came later, and they appropriated the whole edifice. Only over the Christians they put themselves. So they also believed in an evolutionary theory, starting from spiritualism, animism, polytheism, leading by gradual degrees to the atheistic pinnacle. So they no longer hold this view. The view they hold today is that primitive religions bear similarities with developed Christianity. That there is a natural sense of the idea of God which occurs in spontaneously developed religion with the idea of God that Christianity proclaims, a monotheism, a formless monotheism. And this is not to be dismissed. It has an element of truth. Religion has a certain similarity no matter where it occurs, forgetting what I just said when I began. But religion is not organized in a hierarchy. Religion sets up hierarchies. The aim of religion is the higher life. The aim of religion is the supreme life. The aim of religion is the meaningfulness of human life as a whole taken in its entirety. But this is true across the board. There is no gradual evolution of one idea from another and another idea from the previous idea and so on and so forth. But borrowings and development are the rule of religion, no matter which religion you consider. so much about religion. Any questions, comments, objections? Uh,
So can we really say that no other religion apart from Christianity has studied other religions? I mean,
I made an exception. The Hindu Buddhist debate of 1,000 years that lasted in India. If we rule out this exception, if we can generally take it to be true that the systematic study of religions other than their own were undertaken only by Christians. Okay? Now, religion has fallen into bad times. It is no longer something that people proclaim themselves to be with any degree of conviction. Religion has got a bad press, partly because of the events in Europe, partly because of events all over the globe. So it has become fashionable to replace religion with spirituality. In this re- replacement of religion with spirituality, two things are crucial. One is the undermining of the authority of the church, and the other is the inclination towards what is seen as the essence of religion, which religion has betrayed. This is very much in fashion. This is very much the rule in our time. Many people, when they teach religion, teach spirituality, not religion. If you press me for distinctions between these, I will be hard pressed, but I cannot remove the distinction. They are separate things. There is even an atheistic spirituality. There is even a anti-religious spirituality. Spirituality is of the essence of the human being. The human being is a spiritual creature. He lives by his inner light. She lives by her inner light. All people live by their inner light. There is no other place where they can stand. So, spirituality has largely begun to replace religion, especially in the West, not so much in India. In India, something else is occurring. In India, the Hindi word for religion is dharma. Now, dharma is a Sanskrit idea. It has a long history of usage and means many things. We will come to it by and by. But for the moment, let me say that when people write in Hindi and use the word dharma, they mean the English word religion. Dharma nirapekshta, sar dharma sambhav, all these, they mean religion. They don't mean dharma. They mean religion. So that is happening in India. The religiosization of dharma. Whereas on the one hand, what is happening is in Europe is the spiritualization of religion and the attempt to eliminate religion altogether. What is happening in India is the religiosization of dharma and the attempt to dispense with elements of dharma which go contrary to the concept of religion. If I give an example, it will be perhaps easier to understand. Not central, but important to the idea of religion Latin religion, Islamic religion, Judaic religion is the notion of blasphemy. Dharma, there is no notion of blasphemy. But in India, people who claim to be Hindus are using the term blasphemy as part of their vocabulary. So perhaps it's clearer what I wish to say. Let me now treat a little bit about the sociology of religion. The stalwarts of the sociology of religion are Marx, Weber, and Durkheim. They are all non-believers. Some of them are sympathetic to religion, some of them are antipathetic to religion. Most of them have a mixture of them. For Durkheim, religion is the notion of the sacred, which is disappearing from society, which he wants to reintroduce. He sees a positive element in religion. He sees a negative element and he sees a positive element. Weber sees in religion the capacity for greatness. Reason, which has replaced religion, so he believes, has replaced it in a way in which only pettiness any longer remains possible. And the attempt for the heights is no longer possible. He's a pessimist. But he too has a negative view of religion and a positive view of religion. Marx has a negative view of religion, you will all shout, opium of the people. But it is also heart of a heartless world. So he also has a positive image of religion and a negative element of religion. And the source from which he departs to found his own doctrine is the doctrine of Feuerbach, who sees socialism as the soul of Christianity. It is breaking from Feuerbach's contention that socialism is the soul of Christianity that Marx wishes to use the term opium of the people. He is not against the religious goal. He is against the placing of the religious goal outside this world. He wants that world to be introduced into this world. So he has a complicated response to religion. So has Weber. So has Durkheim. So do all independent thinkers of modern Europe. So much about religion. Spirituality is something that is practiced by most people much of the time. But the hedging around of the spiritual from the non-spiritual, this draws on the Christian distinction between the religious and the secular. To set apart some certain human activity as purely spiritual as opposed to other parts which are not spiritual, this is rooted in the understanding of religion. That religion which I have called Latin Christianity's understanding of itself. Now we come to the trickiest word, ideology. Ideology is the name given. Let me say a little about its history first. Ideology was a word invented by a French thinker, Destutt de Tracy. He was a materialist and he believed that all ideas are formed from sensations. All ideas of any kind, all mental life has its root in sensations. There have been followers of this doctrine well after Destutt Tracy also, like the logical positivists. But we will come to that later. Destutt Tracy wanted to form a science which would trace ideas to their source in sensations. And the name he gave to this science was ideology. After a few years, along came Napoleon. Napoleon dismissed such speculation as mere ideology, a negative connotation to the word, not a rootement in science. A negative connotation to the word, arguing someone who argues for the sake of arguing. Napoleon used this word. Marx was the great user of the word. For Marx, ideology is a false consciousness. It is false. But it is a false consciousness rooted in social circumstance and inescapable. How one escapes from ideology is not clear. Only Marx claimed to have escaped it. And he believed that communists had escaped. But ideology were false ideas rooted in social circumstance. Now, ideology, after Marx, Lenin began to use the word in neutral terms. For Marx, ideology was a negative term. It meant something false, had to be combated. For Lenin, there was socialist ideology and capitalist ideology. Both were equally ideologies. And from that, gradually, the sense evolved of mental artifacts of any kind as an ideology. Any worldview began to be seen as an ideology. Any form of thought which sought to describe the world or to understand it began to be called an ideology. With the growing force of atheism in the West, ideology also gained ground. And politics is the hotbed of ideology. For Westerners, the chief discipline, the central discipline is politics. Society is political. It is not so all over the globe. But for the Westerners, this is so. Their supreme discipline is politics. And the word ideology has come into usage as the fighting of political opponents amongst themselves. Now, this also is a spiritual activity. This is not an unspiritual activity. It involves the essential being of a person. It involves a person's concerns. It involves a person's likes and dislikes. It involves a person's deepest engagement with what he considers of value. So, religion, spirituality, ideology. I will treat of Dharma and all this in my next class.